What up, Hyperchange? Emergency scheme session. I lost my laptop, so recording this on my phone, editing on my phone. Probably one of the dumbest videos I'm going to make in a little bit of time, or going to get roasted for, but I genuinely want your opinion. We're talking about Zcash, the privacy coin that has got a lot of attention recently, but I still think is relatively under the radar. It's a cryptocurrency. It's a privacy coin, so it's a category of cryptocurrencies that's based on this theory that people are going to want to shield their transactions, have a little bit more anonymity, be anonymous on the blockchain. Bitcoin, every transaction is tracked. The whole reason that I got scheming on Zcash about a month ago, I started scheming on it was because of a Naval tweet. Naval, the legendary angel investor, had this tweet that was like, even Satoshi can't sell his own Bitcoin, referring to Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, who literally, he has 1 million Bitcoins in a wallet. He's one of the world's richest people, 100 billion plus of value in that wallet, or I guess now like 88 billion. Basically, Naval is saying if he were to sell any of that Bitcoin, if he were to move it or sell it at all, then that could cause the price of Bitcoin to crash. This theory that Satoshi, the creator of Bitcoin, can't even really sell or use his Bitcoin, or if he does, everyone's going to be tracking exactly his every move. And then as a response to that, Naval kind of endorsed or put people onto Zcash, which is a cryptocurrency based very similar to Bitcoin. 21 million are ever going to be in circulation, no much more than that. But it has this interesting dynamic to it where you can opt to be in a privacy pool and have your transactions sort of be anonymous. And this could give people, make it harder to track transactions on the blockchain for potentially bad guys doing bad stuff, or from good guys trying to get away from bad governments, or just people who want privacy in this age. And this really stuck with me because I've been thinking more and more about, as crypto emerges, people have all this wealth on the blockchain, how they do and what do they do with that wealth is going to be so easily tracked. And there's a lot of pros and cons to that. And while I still, Bitcoin, I love Bitcoin. I've loved it for years now. And it's still, I think, the vanguard, it's the blue chip, it's the crypto, the use case of crypto, digital gold, it's Bitcoin. And I think it remains that, but Zcash is sort of, as Bitcoin becomes digital gold, I see Zcash as sort of being this kind of thing that bubbles up alongside it, a new sort of piece of the crypto ecosystem. We have Ethereum, we have stable coins. I think that's working, that's doing amazing stuff, but different than Bitcoin. Then we also have Zcash, which is in its other category with Monero and coins like that, this privacy coin sort of thing. And now I think if you assume that Bitcoin takes off, you assume that crypto becomes huge, then you have to assume people are going to want to move a lot of money into privacy coins. So I did buy a little bit of Zcash, move some of my Bitcoin into it, just a little bit, been FOMOing into it. And remember, this is never financial advice. I mean, Zcash right now is up it was at $50 a Zcash in September. Now it's at like $600 or $700 a Zcash. I think my average, I bought a little at like 250 and FOMOed into more at like 5 or 650 or something. So my average is like 560 or something. Anyway, I'm probably going to get crushed on this. I bought something that was up 10x in 2 months, random cryptocurrency. But there's a little bit of fundamentals behind it. It's not just pump and FOMO. I mean, what I've heard, as far as I know, and this is why I'm making this episode, because I want to know what you've heard about it, is that Zcash is actually one of the highest quality cryptocurrencies in terms of team behind it, technology behind it. They've been building for a decade plus now. They already had a spike in a moment in a previous bull run. Then they were just building in this 10-year winter. And now Zcash, let me get the actual stats for you. Yeah, pretty much 10-year winter, like late 2016 is when it launched. Then it crumbled, then had this big run to like 700, then kind of died. I mean, it had a couple runs in between, but kind of died until basically, this year, September of this year. But not only has the price gone up, the actual adoption and usage of Zcash has gone up as well. I need to look a little bit more into these metrics, but something like 25 to 30% of all Zcash that's circulating is shielded now. So remember I said you can opt to put your Zcash in this privacy pool, which is a little different than how other privacy coins work. But I have this theory that, in the era of hyperchange, buying a stock that would be up 10x in 2 months is ridiculous. I don't know. I'm trying to document my journey here because it's such a weird, uncharacteristic trade for me. But I try to look at it as there's 21 million Zcash. I'm buying it at a $10 billion valuation for the network here at 600 or 700. $10 billion for one of the leading privacy coins, if not the leading privacy coin, could be very cheap. It's just a fraction. It's like half of 1% of Bitcoin's market cap. I think eventually Zcash or privacy coins could be 5, 10, 20% of Bitcoin market cap. So if you're a leader, I think Zcash could, I'm still super bullish on Bitcoin, obviously, it's my main crypto. But I do believe Zcash could outperform Bitcoin even, if it continues to get adoption, this whole privacy coin thesis plays out. So I think 10 billion was actually super cheap. So I kind of just looked at it and was like, am I buying it at 10 million or what? Like, do I care what it was 2 months ago? And now that Zcash has become the thought leader, one of the leaders in privacy coins, there could be a runaway network effect because I think the whole thing with the privacy coins, the bigger that pool, the more capital can come in, the more valuable it is. Like if you have a privacy pool with a couple $100 million, like it, and you want to move in 50 million, you're going to cause a splash in that pool. It's too big. But now the Zcash pool, a few $1 billion of anonymized Zcash, the market cap or network value of full Zcash is like, 10 billion, but anonymized Zcash is already a couple billion. So that is kind of getting this runaway effect, I believe, of now that it's in the billions, if it starts, it's the tens of billions, then Zcash kind of solidifies itself. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy as the best, or at least one of the best privacy coins because it has this massive pool. So in some ways, this kind of hype and FOMO for Zcash is actually creating more and more bullish fundamentals. So I think that's a very interesting dynamic here. I'm still following and trying to learn about this, but I think, the usage for Zcash is skyrocketing. I think the thesis that full transparency, people are going to want to move a little bit away from that in crypto makes a ton of sense to me. And I don't know, I just think it's a really cool, fascinating little project in terms of economics, like the rise of crypto, that it's the most successful experiment in capitalism is, Bitcoin. 2 trillion in market cap value in like 14 years. Hundreds of millions of users all over the world. Governments are buying it. It's the new digital gold. That was only 14 years ago. Bitcoin was nothing. And so now I think in this era of hyperchange, currencies, store of values over time are going to disrupt each other faster and faster. And to just assume Bitcoin will be the only currency in forever and is the internet's currency and no other cryptos will come up with different use cases, I'm not believing that. In some ways, the success of Bitcoin, I think, is going to pave the way for more cryptos. And I think even me included, we've been burned on so many, dumb coins or NFTs. There's so much hype in crypto. It's the Wild West. But I really do believe that there are other projects besides Bitcoin with very strong technicalities and fundamentals that will have real world uses and be very valuable networks. And I think, Bitcoin and Ethereum are like the two that I really believed in, especially with Ethereum and the stable coins. Up until then, they were kind of dicey on real world, propositions. But now Zcash, I think, could be emerging as another real use case of cryptocurrency technology, is these privacy coins. And so I bought a little Zcash. Very curious what y'all think. Please roast me in the comments. Why was this dumb? What do you think of privacy coins? Do you have a better one? What are my theories? What are the metrics of Zcash that I should be following? Anyway, this is Hyperchange. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.